Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Epsilon Software Solution presentation. Here we're going to be talking about the manufacturing model, the model for manufacturing industry. I'm going to share my screen now. You are welcome to the presentation of the manufacturing module of Epsilon Software Solution. Manufacturing process solution. We have definition of one of the parameters that we're going to be using, and that's what we have on the screen now. Under this submodule called definition, we have most of the items defined here can be modified under the submodule called modification. And for any of these modules that require dual authorization, then do authorization under this authorization module. All various of online inquiry about data in the system customized into a report can be viewed under this submodule called inquiry. And then services is where most of the items that, or most of the processes that we do in manufacturing are under the submodule called services. So let's start from here, and I'm going to start from group code. I'm ignoring the generic ad hoc report because it's not relevant for now. This is relevant only anytime we're doing data upload. We'll come back to that later. So group code, we have just the code and description. This is where we define various groups that our items, our products can belong to, including our income group and expense group. We use this to determine which account system is going to post transaction based on the group that that product belongs to. So here, the only thing we do here is we enter the code, we start define whatever code we give, then we give description, the description of that code. Now, leaving this, we have identity mode. This is also similar. We're saying that various type of identity that our customer can, that's accessible to us. We define them here so that where we need to take identity of the customer, whatever we have defined here will be available for us to pick from. Identity mode means either we're talking about driver license, international passport, voter's card, and so on. Just give a code, I'll give a description, and that's finish that part of definition. Now, moving ahead again, manufacturer master. Here, what do we do? This is where we define all the various suppliers or manufacturer that we deal with. By this, we mean people that we can always give local purchase order so as to get us our raw materials or our products that we actually deal with. Depends on what the manufacturing industry is into. Here, if I take the specific example that we have here, for food processing industry, definitely they will need raw materials which is to process their finished products. So here, all the various suppliers that we can always deal with, we define their information here. Things like giving the manufacturer a code, what line of business the manufacturer involved in. If you have a registration number, that is CAC, Corporate Affairs Commission registration number, which country is incorporated, if you know the worth of that company, the title of the MD, the short name of the company. Here, we gather all the relevant information that we can, gather from our supplier. Like we said, this is not exhaustive. After implementation, if any of our customer is looking for additional information before or even before implementation, it can be added during implementation. Therefore, now we have things like registration number, incorporation country, title of the MD, full name of the MD. If they have offshore address, there are 2 line addresses. There are offline address 1, offline address 2. Then local address 1, local address 2. Country, region, state, local government, fax, incorporation date, website, email address, and so on and so forth. So we define for our manufacturer or supplier in this place. let me reiterate again. When I say suppliers from manufacturer, we're talking about people that we get our supply from, either finished products that we're into, that we sell, or raw material that we use to make production. Now, leaving this, we also have requisition type. This is just the type of requisition that we can make. Something that is user defined. We just create all this avenue. That we have different type of requisition, you define them here. So anytime requisition is being made, you can select from the available option. Now, I'm not going to all this detail now, but we'll see by the time we go into services that we render for manufacturing industry, we'll see where we'll call up some of these items that we are defining there. So they are online parameters, necessary parameter that will be defined once and can only be modified later for whatever reason under modification submodule, which I pointed out here earlier. Now, product master is where we define all the type of products that we deal with. If you look at this product master definition now, you can see we have a code, we have a type. It means any product we are defining must have a type. So for the purpose of convenience, here, product type in the manufacturing industry can be a finished product, which is what we eventually sell, what we are manufacturing. It can be raw material, which is the raw source that we use into production. It can also be an intermediate product, something that we need to get first before we get the finished product. So every product we define will have a type, which you select from everywhere defining the product. Give the product a short name, a full name, group code. That is the group code we defined before. What kind of groups does this product we are defining belongs to? You put the group code there, and they put the description. Now, the group code, if it is defined from that definition initially, here you just make use of it. You get the list of available group code, and then you choose the one you want, and it comes with a description. There is one flag here called complementary flag. This is a checkbox item. You check it, it means this product is not for sale. It's only complementary. If you don't check it, it's a product that we're going to be selling. Then when is the product start date? That is, this product, when we start dealing with this product, that is what start date means. And you enter the date in this format: date, double digit, month, 3 digits, and year, 4 digits. Then, if this product is only for a promo product that will last for a short of period, they'll put the end date. In which case, after the end date, then that product will not be available for you to use. So what we're saying here is that product can have a start date and end date if we want to use that product for a limited period. In any case, most of the product will have no end date. As long as we deal with that product, there will be no end date, kept open. Then manufacturer code. Like I said, this column called manufacturer code is you pick from the list of manufacturers or supplier, which I have defined earlier, meaning that this product is being supplied by so-so person, which I have defined earlier, where I said manufacturer to supply maintenance. So what we just do here when we're defining product is to select it, and then select the code, and it comes with the name. The measurement unit. This one is also defined before now. What is the unit of measurement of this product? Is it unit, that is 1, 2, 3? Is it in carton? Is it in tons? And so on and so forth. This will have been defined somewhere else too. Just pick it up from there. And then the code will come with the name, sales price. The product you are defining, you give a price that you're going to be selling that product if it is a finished product. What do you mean by that? Because here we said we're going to define the type of the product. If the product is not a finished product that you are selling, then you'll be talking about selling price. In any case, if you are not selling, whatever it is, if that product is something that you are purchasing, you are buying, there must have a cost price. So the cost price is indicated here. If there's a discount on this product, what this discount allowed flag is doing is that this is normally used anytime the product we are getting from our supplier is product we are selling directly, maybe without adding any input to it, in which case the supplier is giving us at a discount. The supplier has a price that is expected to sell the product in the market. So he only give us discount, just like we are an wholesaler. So in this case, whatever discount that's given to us, what's indicated here, what we only do with this is it make it easy for us to realize our income from this product. Once you have the sales price and the cost price, or you have the sales price and discount, what good thing is that we don't use the two together. If we say discount allowed, yes, then the discount given to us by the supplier will be entered there and the cost price will come. And if it is cost price that we know, we put the cost price here, the system will compute the discount rate based on the percentage of the sales price. So we either use discount rate or cost price, but not do two at the same time. Once you pick one, system takes the second one. Let me explain again. I said we use this part only when we know that what the supplier is giving to us is at a particular cost, and we're going to sell at a particular price. So we make use of this so that we'll not be looking at the income against expense to calculate our profit. The profit or the profit on this particular item that has a discount rate and cost price is realizable immediately we make a sale. We make sale on it. What we're saying in essence is that the product that you define that has a discount allowed and discount rate, you can easily compute the income from individual sales of that item. Now, here we have some of the parameters here that are not necessarily applicable to manufacturing industry. Things like distributed location. Location is just like the branch. Transformable, transform mode. These are only useful if we have products that over a period of time can become another product. But it is applicable to poultry farming business. So this is where we use this as parameters of product that we're defining. An example is in the poultry farming business, the day-old chicken. Those are the small chicken that can eventually become layers, broiler, and so on. They were first defined as day-old when they are received from the supplier. Then over time, we know after some months, which we assume that the poultry farmer know the period that they can become another product. Then here is where we indicate that, okay, this product is transformable because for a period of time, what we call day-old chicken may eventually become layer or cockerel and so on and so forth. So we mention here that's transformable. Then what kind of product can it be transformed into? We mention it here as well. Then what is the minimum number of days before it becomes transformable? We mention it here. Then transformation mode, we say automatic or manual. That's what M and A. M/A, what it means. If we say it's manual, we're saying we are going to look at the status of that product for a period of time by ourselves and then come and transform them to the new product manually on the system. If we say automatic, then we're saying system should look at the number of days. Once it reaches that number of days, they should transform the product into the new product. So that's what transform mode M/A means. Then these other two flags are specifically for hospitality business, hotel, where products can belong to kitchen, can belong to bar. There are things these are also meant for. But when we're another hospitality business, it's better explained there. So this is where the product, all the items that we'll be dealing with in the manufacturing industry are defined. Now, moving further, product type. Okay, sorry, this product type is coming later than where we're going to use it, because on that product, we are going to indicate product type. So all the product types that you have are defined there. So this is where we define whether the product is a raw material, whether the product is an intermediate product, whether the product is a finished product. Whatever we can see in the manufacturing industry as product type, we define them here. This is just for purpose of confidence. Very, very useful later when we go to services. Likewise, this one to product unit code. I've mentioned it somewhere before, but this is where we define them. That is what we call the unit of measurement. Whether the product is measured in units, that is counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or is measured in carton, that's measured in dozen, and so on and so forth. We define all the various code at this point, so that we can make use of them when defining products, when doing sales, when doing stock, and so on and so forth. So here you can see it, code name, quantity, product group. Now, general ledger. Sorry, still looking at sales code. General ledger. Here, we really do the sign of our accounting. I will expect our accounts to be reporting. I will expect a transaction posting to report in our general ledger. So the first column there is talking about account use. This one is also something we define somewhere. So we have decided to say, okay, from what I'm bringing up now, these are the basic accounting unit that we have under this branch called 001. We have finished products and work in progress. Those are the two units that have been defined, basic accounting unit. But then normally the account use is just like a choice. I think it's better explained when we have a template for accounting for any of the clients. But what we have here is that at least there should be an option of, okay, what this account is being used for. Like for the example I've given here, we have two things: finished products have the code 1154, the work in progress have the code 1153. This is the accounting structure of the test we have done for a particular manufacturing industry. There are more than this, because here are the what's available. Where you just this place is where we define all of them. So you define them, give the account use, and you give the description, the product group. You mention the group that the product belongs to. Then, if there's a subgroup, you mention it as well. Then, account head. That is to say, which account does all the product under this group report to? That's what we account head. Then, specific product that's going to make use of this. Mention this product here, the account number that entry should go into the account name. Then, whether the account should always be on the positive side or negative side. Meaning the balance in that account at any point in time. For people that understand accounting, they will know what I'm talking about here. So this is where we define our general ledger for manufacturing industry. Okay, accounting basic. Now, accounting basic, just like what I make use of in the last when I say account use. This is where we define all the basic of accounting. Yeah, as you can see here now, for a global accounting ledger that we have in the system, we have account code, non-current asset, account code, tangible asset, account code, this land and building, plants and machinery. So these are all the various account use. So you can add more and more to them. You can see 10 other bank accounts. So the design is yours. It's user design. I mean, it's user defined. Every user of the application design whatever they want for their account use. Now let me just do this. Let me ask my pick one of this. The next thing they ask you, what group? Based on all the group could have been defined. Okay, there's no list here. You bring out the group that this one belongs to. Then you enter the account head. Now this is like subgroup, flavor, pack size. These are all subgroups. For the general group, this is subgroup of it. This is another subgroup of it. So this is where we do the accounting basic definition or basic accounting definition. Then expense definition. This is where we define all the various expense codes. Whatever expenses that were made in the industry or in the manufacturing industry, we define all the various codes for our expenses here, which we make use of later. And what do we need to enter here? The expense, we give it a code, which is alphanumeric, description, what that expense is all about, something that everybody can know what it is. Then the group code. said earlier, group codes are defined to know which income does it go to, which expense does it go to, specific account and grouping. So group code must have been defined where I mentioned group code. You just select it from there. Then again, mode of expense, is it manual or automatic? Then frequency. This expense is something we take daily. So we define expense code here with all the parameters I just mentioned now. Now, the next thing is auto batch generation. This is where we generate batch number for our finished product in the manufacturing industry. So for this specific industry or for this specific company, the parameter to define the batch are given in this mode. A batch number is supposed to generate using the product code, the type of the product, the month, the shift, that is the shift that produces that product, and then a line, items, then the year. So we can, this one is always specific to industry. So we can add more based on whatever parameter that goes into the batch generation for the next manufacturing industry that we're going to do implementation. But for this manufacturing industry, they have this parameter combined together to form the batch. So once you set it up there, the system generates the batch automatically, and you know what the batch number is, which can be used for various production items. When we are producing items, the batch that the item we are producing belongs to is always generated from here. Okay. Now, these are the various definitions that need to be done for systems, services, components. If there's another one after, we'll mention it and show you where we can get it done. So we are assuming all this has been done, and we want to go to what we have as services. Now, if you look at our services, they are just arranged in this order: raw material requisition, raw material issuance, raw material approval, product stock, product sale, LPO issuance, expense management, mobile vendor slash LPO payment, mobilized vendor slash LPO payment. So what we're saying is that after the division has been done, then the process of production or manufacturing starts from raw material requisition. This is what we need to do under raw material requisition. So we're assuming that all the various raw material types that must have been defined under the product. So here we just make use of them. There's always a clue here in most of the fields where there is list of values that you can choose from. So you will see for valid code, press Ctrl L. So I'm in this field now. If I do Ctrl L, it will show me all the list of products that are available in this industry with their various attributes. Look at the first one here, 00017 is our product type F000, and this sales price, the short name is per room, and then the cost price is 500. So what we're saying in essence is that all the products that have been defined in our system presently is what comes up here. So let me assume I want to use a specific product. A product specific to this industry. Now, this industry, they make use of sellotape. So I pick sellotape and I do tab. The system say LPO fulfillment for raw material sellotape cannot be found to save the cost price. So what we're saying is that LPO has been issued, yet to be fulfilled. So we don't know what the cost price is. So we cannot go ahead and use this, because if we go ahead, we'll not be able to get the exact cost. So let me leave this. We'll come back to that because this is LPO. Okay, let's leave this. Since LPO is required, let's start the process from LPO issuance. Let's start from LPO issuance, because for raw material, for you to make request for raw material, we assume raw material is already in the store. So let's start from LPO. So this LPO, mobilization details, LPO details. So here, biller code is talking about who is going to be billed for this LPO. Let me just, all this that comes up here, the manufacturers or supply maintenance, that we have in the system. The manufacturer or supplier that been maintaining the system are what you are seeing there. Let me take this as the biller code. You know, it comes up with the short name, full name, the biller address. That's the person that's going to bill us for what we are going to ask to supply. That's why we call it biller code. This person is going to be given an invoice to supply something for us, and then I call him biller code. So what type of product do you want to issue a PO for? We want to issue a PO for raw materials. So you can see these are the product type in the system now: intermediate product, work in progress, raw material, finished product. So we are issuing an invoice or an LPO for raw material. So I pick this as product type, then receiver code. So who is receiving this thing we are issuing out? It also comes out with all the list of manufacturer. All this is a manufacturer. Okay, I'm picking PhD as the one receiving what we have issued out. I see the PhD full name also came out, the short name came out, receiver address, and invoice date. Invoice date automatically carry the system date, in which case 23rd June, system date. So it's carried 23rd June. So if this invoice is not for 23rd June, then the date can be changed here. But it will first automatically pick the date for you and wait for you to either pick it or change it. So I do tab. Now, how many days do you expect this person to supply what we're asking for? Let's say in 30 days, they want to supply it. The system has given the expiry date of the, based on that number of days. That if you have issuing it for 23rd June, and you have to supply, then the expiry date is 23rd July 2022. Now, what currency are we going to settle this supplier? See all the list of currency in the whole world is already coming, shipped in with this application. So you just choose the currency. But also of convenience, since we're dealing with Nigerian products and we assume we're going to settle in Naira, just type NG and it gives you to Nigerian Naira. So you pick it and you move. Now here is setting to details. What are the details of the items we want this supplier to give us? You say it's raw material. So click on details and that takes us to this table where we're going to enter the details of what to expect the customer to give us. Like I said, the same thing applies here. It's also on the fail bill code. What is that code? Product, this bill code is a product code. What are we billing for? So is which product are we asking the supplier to give us? So there's also a list of values there showing all the products that have been defined in the system. Remember, it's raw material. So for the purpose of manufacturing for this company, they use, okay, this is from 004, which is called raw groundnut for roasted product. So this is a raw material. Now, in what measurement? It's all the first measurement in the system. A for crate, A for place, C for crate, D for dozen gram. You must have defined this from where I earlier show under definition. What measure of sales or salt. So for the purpose of this, I think it's in kilogram. So we want you to give us in kilogram, and the price of kilo of this raw material, we have to enter it because we are the one giving the invoice out. You must have agreed with a supplier that is going to supply a price. So we enter the price, unit price, let's say the unit price is 900 naira per kilo. And how many kilo do we ask for? We ask for 1,000 kilo. That shows the amount we're supposed to pay. Now, if we have more raw material, we just use down arrow button to move to the next line. Then we select another raw material that we are expecting this person to supply us. Now, let me look at what I'm going to choose again. Let's assume that we're asking this man to give us carton. So we're going to use carton to pack whatever we are, the finished products. So carton is in what? Look at what you have defined before, because you must have defined for every items what the unit of measurement is. So let's say we are doing this carton in dozen. It should give us 100 dozens. How much is per dozen? A dozen of carton is 500 naira. Now, it's not bringing out the price, possibly because we don't have Let me see. It's not know the price. I'm sure it couldn't compute dozen code. That dozen code is not properly defined. So let me leave that code dozen and change it to unit. I miss working. I can see a better position. I need to check why the dozen carton. So that product must have a problem. Maybe we'll check whether it's not defined properly with price. We're supposed to multiply the unit with the price. I mean, use the price to compute. For possibly the price is not defined for carton. We'll check it later. Let me pick another one. Let's say it's going to supply syrup. Syrup is in unit. How many? 20. And then the quantity price for syrup is 100. You can see it computes that one correctly because if we're able to get the price, that's able to compute that correctly. So let's assume these are the three items we want to supply us. And then we have to save this. Transaction we put on authorized status, authorized by another user. What it means is that this type of LPO in this organization, I've said it has to be dual transaction. Dual means no single person can initiate an LPO and complete it in the system. So for second person authorization level to see what you have issued and certify it okay, the other person has to see. That's why it is prompting us the acknowledgement message that this transaction will be in an authorized status until it's authorized by another user. Possibly that another user can authorize will be a senior person in the. So it's telling us that the LPO is created successful, and that's done. So once this is done, then for do authorization of that LPO issuance, we now need to go to authorization sub-module here. Under the authorization module, we are authorizing LPO, so choose LPO. So here, the reference number will be generated for that LPO. So you just pick the reference number up and try to authorize it. These are all the items that are in an authorized position. But the one I just did now is this. But one thing I wanted to see, I just want to see what happened here. Because this same person is the one that issued this LPO. That's the person I call user 001. I don't expect him to be able to do authorization at the same time because system told us that time that it requires authorization by a second user. So let me say check details. These are the items that is being issued out. And if I say authorization, same user cannot input as authorized. Dual purpose will be defeated. Okay. So that means this one will authorize. So I have to go out and then log in the new user that have the capacity to authorize this. So I'm taking another user now that can possibly authorize this. With this, then the user will now go to this is manufacturing module, authorization, and then LPO. Same way we do Control L to see list of values there, and then we pick this number because you must have another number. I knew that, that's why I was able to pick it. Now, you now check details. These are the details of the item. See here, this person that initiated user ID, this person that's authorizing now, this person that login is unauthorizing. Here, I have, let me try to see whether I can extend it. Okay, good. So these are the entire screen. I can see the entire screen. There are two transactions. This one, because it doesn't have a price, that's taking the price at 0 at the transaction level. That is this carton that came with no price that time. So it's 0 because for whatever reason, the amount didn't come up. I will check what is wrong. I don't know now. Maybe the definition of that carton was not valid done. The system has realized that we have 900,000 for the first items, 2,000 for the second item. I mean, 0 for the second item and 2,000. So the total amount is now at 2,000. So here, we're going to get approval done here. So once we say authorize, authorization is successful, it was completed. So that means this IPO can now be issued to the supplier. I think I need to check something. Each time we have this kind of IPO issued, it's supposed to be a report. I'm going to check that report now. Let me go into my system and check the report if I can display it. IPO that been issued. Okay, I can see LPO has been issued. So I will share my screen. I will share this LPO that has been issued. Okay. So I'm coming. I will share the LPO that has been issued on my machine now. This is a report of the LPO, though it's not properly formatted, but at least you can easily see it. So I will share it now. Judge now, this is share. Total amount is 2,000. PhD food industry. This raw groundnut for this amount. Then cotton, and then syrup. So this is the note that this invoice is valid for 30 days. Payment has been made on or before 23rd July 2022. So this is the LPO that has been issued. Now let's go away from here. Yeah. So we're coming back to the second screen. So that is LPO issuance completed. So the next thing after issuing LPO is to do what we call LPO fulfillment. There are two ways for LPO fulfillment. Let's go back to our services. We have LPO issuance has been completed. So we have mobilized vendor from LPO payment. So what we're saying here is that this is where the LPO we have issued needs to be funded. So there are two ways. It can be funded in advance, that is, pay the supplier before supplying, or at the other time, it might be supplier supply before you pay. So whichever option, systems allow you to do whichever one has come first. If it is payment has come first, you come here to do mobilization for the customer because you are paying him first. And if it's supply, you also come here and confirm that you are supplying. So if I put here now, this is the only LPO that has been issued and approved. It's only that came up here. All of the LPO we saw that time, they were not yet approved. That's why they're not coming up. So say these are the details. This biller, this is a receiver, and then the balance of the LPO in terms of payment is now around 2,000. I think we remember that. Then we have payment mobilized amounts. How much are we mobilizing the supplier? We enter it here. Once we enter it here, system will know. We can do partial mobilization, and likewise we have partial fulfillment. So if I say I'm mobilizing this guy just now 100,000, and I do this, say this is to confirm. This confirming that you are making partial payment of the LPO amount of 2,000 outstanding on the LPO. Yes. So you allow me to go ahead. The balance amount of LPO is this, so it means we have paid partially to the supplier. Every that information is entered, you can always check them. Now, here, what do we do here? Details. This is confirming that you are making partial again, because we are not paying for it. So, what's the detail? That's mobilization. Now, we have mobilized the supplier. We have mobilized the supplier. Now, let's check again. Yeah. What's the detail of LPO? Detail of the LPO. Okay, remaining 2,000. Okay, let's say we are paying the remaining 2,000. Another time. Now, details. Now, I did details. Sorry, I missed the first time. I did details. We need to now mention what the supplier are going to give to us. Whatever he has brought in, we mention it here because we said it can be partial, it can be full. So let's assume these are the three items that we gave the supplier to supply us the LPO for. So pick one after the other. Assuming you have supplied this, is 900, supposed to supply 1,000. Whatever you have supplied, we indicate it here. You can see here. If you apply everything, we leave it because you know it's 1,000. But if you supply partially, say supply 800, we'll put 800 there. This is the price for that 800. And again, carton. Let's assume supply the carton. That has no money. So you supply the carton 500. Then the third item, syrup. Let's assume I supply the syrup as well. The only thing this supply full is the raw granite. So with this, we now say, because we've already mobilized customer, he has paid, then we can save. Look for the save icon. Okay, mobilize. Okay, start account search for person entry failed. Account entry with suspect. Okay, let's talk about for each of these items now. So also account updated. Fail. Okay. The second time, the third items. So with this, the customer and the customer supply items have been applied. Now, the also message is telling us that we did not maintain. That's our general ledger accounting problem. For stock account, for these items I've mentioned there, maintenance of account has not been done properly. System could not get them. Instead, a suspense account has been created along with the creation of the general ledger. We take all those entries. So with this, we say the customer has only supplied partially, and we have made full fulfillment, full payment has been made. Let's just see if we are still in order. It's still coming up. I see something left on this. At this stage now, this guy has paid everything. We've paid everything, but he has not supplied everything. So we'll come back here and see what is remaining for you to supply. You can see this is the only thing remaining that has not supplied fully. That's the one that came up. And then how many is expected? Just 200. So that's 200. Let's assume he's supplying it now and then mobilize. So I can't search for passing entry fail. I can't entry will pass to suspend. Then because he's going to put this in stock. Once they supply this, it's supposed to go automatically to stock, and then the balance of stock account supposed to reflect the amount of these items. So that's what STEM is saying when they say suspect account will be updated. So for this, it goes to suspect account. So with this, if you try again now, you won't see no other LPO that's unfulfilled. But this has been completely fulfilled LPO in terms of payment, in terms of supply. Okay, that is what we do here under mobilized vendor stroke LPO payments. Remember, LPO issuance, then LPO authorization from here. After LPO authorization, then we come back to do mobilized vendor stroke LPO payments. And when that is done, that means the material has been supplied to us, our paid, and that is done. So that raw material is available now. We can make raw material requisition for the purpose of production. Now, I will just do raw material requisition and I will end the presentation there. Then we'll continue after that with other series of, with another presentation on other steps required in the manufacturing process. Now, this raw material requisition now is here. I remember what I've been supplied with. I can always choose them now. I have raw 004. Let me look at the name. Okay, this is that's our product. Selected it. Supply us 1,200. So the stock price, stock price 1,200. That's what I've been supplied with. Now, here, when we are doing raw material requisition, we indicate which product is the target product. That is finished product are we targeting with this raw material. So we do a selection here, list of value. So what are we targeting? Roasted nuts. Roasted nuts are finished product. We select it and do tab. batch number. For this product, what are the batch number available that be generated that have not been used? Because we're going to put production in batches. So if there are other any automatically generated batch number that has not been used, then we just do Control L, you bring it out. But now, list of value contain no entries, meaning that there is no generated batch number for this production we're about to engage ourselves on. So we need to go back to our generation of batches. There's a batch number for this set of production we want to do. And then we can go ahead with raw material requisition. Going back now to definition. Under definition, we have auto batch generation. So here, product is I want to produce, that's finished product. Line of this is not available for this course. So what line item is this? We decide to give a line by ourselves. Let's say 01. Which year? 2022, because those are all the parameters. You can leave it out if you don't want anything you are not using, then put nothing there. So everything we're using, we just dictate it. So let's say this is for June. And then for first shift, generate 100 exception occur. Possibly I've used what is invalid in case of maybe this month. But this month supposed to be a number field. 06. Let's generate again. That requires 100 exception. 06502. I need to know what and what variables that I need to put in this place. I don't remember. Check again. Let's say line 1. That's 100 exception. Well, I need to check what is happening in batch generation now. Okay. In any case, let me see. We also have auto. All the batches are auto generation. But we can use manual batch if we want. But if I've said we are going to use auto batch generation, they have to be auto batch generation. Let's check again. Product. I will check what is going there. Raw nuts. That's roasted nuts. 1. Yeah. I think the problem has to do with the size. Shift 1. I'll go and check that. I can give indication of okay, it's correct. It has to do with size. What happened is that the line for batch generation cannot accommodate what I've listed before. That year supposed to be just 23rd of 2022. But in any case, I will try to do something now. I'll put what number of characters that's allowed on each field so that it will guide you on entering the data. But this one is just user defined, like I said. If you have defined it by that way, you should have known what to enter and you have known what to do. So you won't have made mistake. But in any case, it's also good if you put int here. So when we're in the field, this field you have to select. But this field you have to enter anything and the notice value will guide you on what you can enter there. So a batch number has been generated now. So we can go back to use that batch number when doing product raw material acquisition. Raw material acquisition, this is where we want to end the first presentation today. So we say we're going to request for RCW004. And our target product is roasted nuts. That's the finished product we are targeting. And the batch number now, this only batch I've generated. This batch number I've generated, that's only batch number. So production, we have this batch number. You can see it has consumed the entire space. That's the maximum we can have there. Now, we are on account code. What account code should be affected for this? For raw material, groundnut. This is raw material groundnut. So you pick this account code. Like I said, general ledger has been defined. Just come and pick what you have defined for it. For raw material account code, so you put this, then driver name. Now, who is driving this production? That's the manager. Whoever is married, put the name of the person there. Then work in progress account for this. You bring out the work progress account. This work progress account for groundnut. unit code. In which unit? We're going to manufacture a kilogram. Sorry, the requisition is being kilogram. So what's quantity? How many kilogram of granite are we using now? So we are still here. Man material upon which the estimated quantity is projected cannot be found. The main raw material upon which the estimated quantity is projected cannot be found. Third administrator. A diagram. I complete on this program. Let's check again. The raw material is in. Okay, let's pick graph. The main raw material upon which the estimated quantity is projected cannot be found. Like I said, all our parameters has to be in order before we can get it right. I'll go and check what is going on with this kilogram. Still complaining. Same as no unit. So there's a problem here. The main raw material upon which the estimated quantity is. What it means is that there is a standard. I think this setup for this manufacturing company is setting up a range that will guide the projected quantity. They put a projected quantity of each of these raw material. So for this, there is no possible relationship between what quantity of this you need for the finished product. So that's why it's giving us this error message, because it's supposed to be a kilogram. We'll check that and then we'll correct it so that we can complete this transaction. That's where we're going to start in our next session. Thank you very much for your listening audience. Go back to show you the continuity of the video in due course. Thank you very much.